Hey everyone, let us take a look at, the final installment for Vectorman, created by the same company, one of the last games for the Genesis. Once again, we have 3 different difficulties, and I will once again have to be labeled as lame, because save states aren't really my thing. Take a look at the contest winner. Congratulations, Josh Krebs. I will explain more about this as I make progress in the game. That's a really neat, really awesome design. So, back to the title screen. With this clearly not well-aged cutscene. Oh damn. Don't see the destruction of that ship. It's not completely blown up. Now Vectorman has to hover his way to the surface, which really doesn't take too long. This level is one of a kind. You do not have to descend slowly like this for any other level. Although Vectorman has this technique, how come you cannot utilize it as opposed to just having to shoot downwards in order to lose momentum? It's just a question. Every single photon collected. Still, as you can see, a thing in this game. This game is just as much, if not even more, a collectathon than the first installment. So, I stated that I received more enjoyment out of this game than I did the first when I purchased Sonic Gems Collection not too long before. Do I still feel that way? I am really not sure. Both games really do have their advantages. The second game does certainly have some levels I can't say I really care for. Seriously, this power stack is taking way too long to destroy, which is clearly the replacement for televisions this time around. But the levels that are good are really freaking good. Just like the first game, you have lots of paths to go to, lots of stuff to collect, so that even if you have finished this game multiple times, you have a reason to come back to it. Well, that and of course, the harder difficulty levels. The farthest I've gotten on normal would be level 15. Okay, thankfully I hit a checkpoint there, so all is well. This game has more levels than the first installment, and dang it, I fell through that. This game is 22 levels, whereas the first one is 16, yet this game actually feels a bit shorter to me. This game for me took about 45 to 50 minutes. Not that much less time than the first installment, but even so. One advantage the first game has is the type of enemies you're battling. Instead of battling other Orbots, you're battling some mutated bugs. The story is pretty much bare bones here. Just need to take care of these mutated insects. And the Black Widow Queen at the end of the game. Spoiler alert, but hey. This game is nearly 2 decades old. And you do see this Black Widow whenever you do get a game over. along with the credits, but not many people care about those now, do they? Presentation-wise, I say this game is probably even more gorgeous looking than the first game. At least it applies to some of the levels. Certain levels in the game certainly do look more appealing than others, slash graphically capable. So this game is a little bit inconsistent, but still, graphics are next to top notch. End of the level, even though there's something right in front of Vectorman, whether it be a landscape or a tree. Do get details on, just like in the first game, what's all you've collected out of the whatever amount there is left. I will say the middle of this game is certainly not as good as like the first third or the last third. Certainly some gimmicks I don't particularly care for. I mean, thankfully, there aren't any top-down view levels this time around. None of the levels are particularly that short. So there's a few ridiculously short levels. Now you're just jumping from branch to branch. I do like this level, although I can imagine being annoying to some. Original character, do not steal. In all seriousness, no. I don't know what is the point in changing Vectorman's color outside of, just a slightly different look for Vectorman, with of course it's the same shape. Super shot, oh yeah. Sure to the edge of the screen, it'll bounce all over the place, easily killing all the enemies on the screen eventually. You do get a different set of power-ups this time around. None of the power-ups, the transformations, or however you're armed, will be the same way as it was in the first game. So it certainly does keep things fresh. The gameplay is very much similar, controls the same. It's the same idea, game from start to finish, shooting everything, but with these different power-ups and transformations. It certainly doesn't feel like a rehash. It is worthy of being a sequel. Very much so. While having to battle mutated insects clearly isn't as exciting as having to face other robots, they're still generally well designed and do pose a pretty good threat. So it is still ultimately kind of a minor issue. And I am at the top. Get hit. Receive any hits. Okay, as I'm invulnerable. Okay, let's see if I can. That works too. Hurry now. Voila. Just press start to skip all the details. I'm gonna just skip them from here on. I doubt many of you will care. I certainly won't. Here's one of the boss battles, which I took care of almost immediately. Kinda gives me a Super Metroid vibe. Scene fire. It sounds like what Vectorman said, but for every other level he says scene, insert number. Actually tells what the title of this level is. Look at the graphics, the background, the presentation. It is top notch. Damn you, Scorpion. But that's okay. I will get my revenge almost immediately. Not every level will be this gorgeous, but Still, an excellent looking Mega Drive game. Now you're able to take certain enemies' DNA and take one of their abilities. Mega Man! Except you keep it for about a short time. Like, I've only had like a dozen seconds. One thing rather annoying about this form is that you do lose your momentum and do not fall to the left or right until you didn't head to the left or right as you're midair until you start falling. Still, Scorpion form is rather enjoyable. You're invulnerable to lava and actually pretty much everything in this level for that matter. So besides being able to sting your opponents, you will also not be able to take damage. So be sure to take that for granted. What is the point of that beeping since I wasn't able to keep shooting instead I had my tail to use anyways. Another really good level. Plenty of time to spare. Oh nice, a bonus level. You get to play through these if you have, I believe, 85% of the photons and the power stacks. I'm not sure if it has to be at least 85 for both, but at the very least average 85%. Let's see if I can make it through these. You know, it's just like a lot of these horizontally shooting games. Not really anything new, but it is still really neat to look at. So graphics you do expect from like a Sega 32X, or even the Sega Saturn. See, you have a little bit of time. Please just keep speeding up. It's making my heart pound. This is quite a blast. See if I can make it to the end. Unless this is infinite, I am not sure. Hey, this is going to be a short game, so I'm all for playing through these bonus levels as long as I possibly can. Grab it. And that's it. Still less a decent amount of time if I do say so myself. So, one thing about Sonic Gems collection is that the Japanese/European versions do not. Excellent Super Shot again. My favorite weapon in the game. They do not receive Vectorman 1 and 2. Instead, they receive Bare Knuckle 1 through 3, or Streets of Rage, is what it's called, along with the Bonanza Brothers. I remember a good chunk of people were disappointed that Americans, I should say, were not receiving the Streets of Rage games. You know, I am glad that these games aren't on the compilation, even with the lack of Streets of Rage. I heard that they took those games out along with Bonanza Brothers in order to keep this game E. But since E10 was out, would this game have really been T-rated? I mean, then again, ESRB was rather picky when it comes to ratings, like how Smash Bros. Melee and Brawl were rated T, and how Halo was rated M, when it should have been T to begin with. Although Halo 5 Guardians is actually T rated for a change. Another thing is that these games did not receive a Japanese release. Not even on the original Mega Drive. Although the Asians did get a chance to play this game on the Wii Virtual Console. Blah 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 blah, I don't care enough. One thing about transferring to these levels is that you'll have the same amount of health you had from the very end of the level, but you do not keep your power-ups for some reason. I mean, I kind of get why, but it's still a bit inconsistent. Another boss that was over before we knew it. Now our rollerblading sections are okay-ish, I suppose. Although I dislike how you are not able to shoot downwards anymore. Vectorman does control a bit awkwardly too. Thankfully, you can use your jets to damage your enemies and reach new heights if you ever need to make use of them. Still, they're okay-ish. I don't mind them too much. It's a following level that I can't say I care for. This game does have a lot of variety too of levels, although not to the same extent, because I kid you not, you're gonna go through this type of level not once, not twice, but 3 times. Like, not even like level after level, but every other level. Blah, blah, blah. Dirty job. This one I cannot say I'm thrilled with. Just a lot of burrowing. It is interesting. It is an interesting idea, I suppose, but just a lot of button mashing, and I know this game already has a lot of button mashing as it is, but these levels just bring it to a whole new level. Easily one of my least favorite levels in the game, and even then I don't hate it. Just, you know, could live for that. So yeah, that contest I said I was going to explain early in the video. Well, there are 2 different contests. When I failed to mention during the first Vectorman game is that about 100 or so cartridges in the first Vectorman game contain a message saying you win if you play through the game without using any cheat codes, without using the Game Genie or whatever. If the game detected they messed with the code, and they probably did. There are lots of prizes, like be able to win Sega Saturns to winning $10,000. The grand prize winner won 25 whopping thousand bucks. And the other contest was posted on the Sega channel, where people can create their own Vectorman, which is what you saw at the beginning of the video. Probably isn't utilized in the game, but that grand prize winner got to be a part of one of the Sega commercials, and the 10 secondary prize winners, first prize winners, I should say, received their copies of Vectorman 2.